Today, we're looking at a blue-black ink by Monteverde, cleverly named Blue Black. Hi, I'm Adam, and I'm an ink guy. I get inks, test them, and share the results with you. Now, there's timestamps down below so that you can skip around to the parts you're most interested in, or if you watch the whole thing, I'd appreciate you. You can follow me on Instagram, and if you're new here and like fountain pen inks as much as I do, I would invite you to subscribe. To make sure I have a range of experience with this ink, I do the writing samples. I then put the ink into this Italics brand Chaplin's Tankard Oblique Italic Nibbed. I wrote with it for the day. I then used it to take the notes for this video. This first writing sample is done on a standardized set of paper of Clairfontaine, Tomoe River, and Rhodia. There are additional writing samples later in the video. Now, let's look at the writing sample. I picked this ink up in sample form, so it came in a vial like this. And to keep my writing samples consistent, I use a Jinhao 159 with a Goulet 1.1 stub, a Jinhao X450 with a Goulet medium, and a Jinhao X750 with a Goulet extra fine. Let's take a look at the Clairfontaine. No bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 is no feather spread, halo sheen, a lot of shading going on. Just look at the word black. Starts dark, gets light, gets dark and light and dark again in the K. Very nice stuff. Extra fine is a little bit lighter than the stub with no feather spread, halo sheen, some very nice shading that's going on. Fox starts light and gets dark. Jump starts light, gets dark, gets light, gets dark again. Nice. And 4 seconds to dry. Now, medium is the same tone as the extra fine with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade. Fox starts light, gets dark. Jumps goes from light to dark. Quick goes from dark to light to dark. Nice. 9 seconds to dry. Now the scrubby for both, far left to far right, more in person than on camera. See if I get the light a little better. More in person than on camera. We do get some color variation, and we did get quite a bit in the writing. Tomoe River. No bleeding, normal Tomoe River ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather spread, halo sheen, or shade. The extra fine is quite a bit lighter than the stub with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade. 8 seconds to dry. Medium is only a hair darker than the extra fine with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, and 12 seconds to dry. The scrubby for both show us no color variation, and I didn't get any. Rhodia. No bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 is no feather spread, halo sheen, very nice shading going on. Again, blue starts lighter, gets darker, gets lighter, gets even lighter, gets very dark at the E. Look at what's going on in Monteverde. It's going from mids to darks to mids to darks to lights to darks to back and forth all over. Very nice. Extra fine is lighter than the stub with no feather spread, halo sheen. It does have some shading going on. It is not as nice as the stub. Fox starts light and gets dark. Brown starts mid-tone, gets light. Quick goes from dark to light to dark. 4 seconds to dry. Medium is a little darker than the extra fine. Not quite as dark as the stub. With no feather spread, halo sheen, decent shading. Quick starts dark, gets mid-tone, gets dark. Brown starts mid-tone and gets light. Fox starts light and gets dark. 7 seconds to dry. The scrubby for both do show us some decent color variation, far left to far right, and we do get it in the writing. I agree with Vita that I've learned a lot by doing multiple chromatographies. The one on the left is done the way it's supposed to be done. I put a line of ink down and immediately put it into water for 10 to 15 seconds. And we see this very nice blue at the bottom. It pushes up, and then a really grape kind of purple at the top. Now, this is where they're getting to that blue-black. It's got the tiniest line of the black across, but it is really a very dark purple. I don't know why it's a blue-black, honestly, looking at it, but it's not bad. The one on the right, I let dry for 10 minutes before I dunk it into water. When my brain actually clicks in and works, it paused on me. Now the blue is very gathered on the bottom. There is a very distinct blue line across the bottom. It pushes up. We see that same dark purple come in at the top. The blue line is the difference that we're seeing on these, which makes me feel like blue might hang around just a little bit. Resistance tests are done to see how well this ink can be expected to perform on the page, and more importantly, how hard it may be to clean from your pen. Now, I let the smear dry for 3 days before testing it. Looking at the highlighter, I would not use this in a note-taking situation because it gets so blown out and ugly and unusable. A note on this swab in its entirety: I apparently was messy with paper towels and it's a transfer of another color, so we're just going to ignore that unusual color mixed in there. Water is reactivating and lifting most of this as far as all of the purples, but not that very light blue that we saw on the bottom of the chromatographies. Now, it's lifting some of it, but not all of it. I do think that I would give that a little bit more time and see if it completely did the job. If it didn't, though, pen flush is showing us the white of the page coming through, so pen flush is completely breaking this ink up. What you would not need is a 1/3 bleach solution, even though it does completely remove it from the paper. I test ink viscosity with a tilt test that I'll link somewhere. Now, for the inks I've tested, I have found an average viscosity of 2.5, with the realm of normal being from 2.1 to 2.9. Monteverde's Blue Black has a viscosity of 1.77, making this a wetter ink. For the inks I've tested, I have found an average dry time of 17 seconds, with the realm of normal being from 13 to 21 seconds. I find this by using my writing samples that were done on Clairfontaine, Tomoe River, and Rhodia paper. Monteverde's Blue Black has an average dry time of 7 seconds, making this a very fast drying ink. Faster than most marketed fast dries. Instead of finding inks that look like Monteverde's Blue Black, I would prefer to find an ink that complements its color on the page. I wanted a nice orange. I chose Robert Oster's Orange, because this ink's named Blue Black, it's Blue Black, so I wanted something named Orange that's orange. The second writing sample is done on Northbook's Nimacine and Fabriano paper. Here we're looking at Northbook's paper. We get no bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather spread, halo sheen. It has shading in the form of there are some darker spots. The top of the T is a bit darker than what's around. The ERDE is darker than the rest of the word, so there is bits of it, just not very much. Extra fine is slightly lighter than the stub, with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade. Medium is the same tone as the extra fine with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, 1 second to dry, same 1 second for the extra fine. Scrubby for both shows us no color variation, and we didn't get any. It's an absorbent paper. Nimacine, I love these notebooks. They're just so expensive to buy that I don't want to buy them anymore because, wow, expensive. No bleeding, no ghosting, but they feel so nice to write on. They're expensive. The 1.1 is no feather spread, halo sheen, very nice shading. Look at what's going on in Monteverde. Mid-tone to light tone to dark tone to mid-tone to dark tone to mid-tone to light tone to dark tone. Beautiful stuff here. Extra fine is a little bit lighter than the stub with no feather spread, halo sheen. That shading is coming across just as nice. Quick goes from dark to light to dark. Brown goes from mid-tone to light tone. Fox goes from light to dark. Very nice. 5 seconds to dry. Medium is about the same tone as the extra fine with no feather spread, halo sheen, and the same kind of shading going on. Fox starts from light, goes dark. Dog goes from lighter to darker. This is very nice. This performs way better as a blue black than I would have expected based on its chromatography. 8 seconds to dry. Scrubby for both shows plenty of color variation, far left to far right, and we do get it in the writing. Last up, Fabriano. No bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 is no feather, spread, halo, sheen, and that same great shading that we've been getting from this ink. The extra fine is slightly lighter than the stub, with no feather spread, halo, sheen, some shading. It's not as standout. Now, Fabriano tends to really tame a lot of inks down, and it really did here. 3 looks a bit darker than the S in seconds, but on seconds, across the bottom looks darker than across the top. Fox goes from light to dark, so it's all there, 3 seconds to dry. Medium is a little bit darker than the extra fine, not quite as dark as the stub, with no feather, spread, halo, sheen, and no real shading here, 5 seconds to dry. The scrubby of the extra fine shows us more color variation than we're getting in the writing. Medium shows us none, and we got none, and that is all that I have for the writing sample. So what do I think of Monteverde's Blue Black? This is another blue black that's got a slight purple lean to it, and in this case, I don't care for how that looks on the page. It's just not as appealing to me. Now, it does offer some shading throughout some of the writing, which is very nice. It's just that particular purple here doesn't do it for me. So what nib and pen is going to give the best writing experience? Whatever it is, it's not a stub. I hated it there. But a very wet fine or medium pen makes it much darker, takes that purple out of what I'm seeing, but it's not so dark that it's black. It's definitely a very dark blue black. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, and thanks for watching.